Good evening, and welcome back to the Archive of Truth. Welcome to News Around. In the grand theatre of Turkish entertainment, there are couples who are merely co-stars, fleeting shadows that dance together for a season and then vanish into the archives of memory. And then, there are the legends. The seismic pairings that shift the very tectonic plates of the industry, leaving an aftershock that resonates for years, long after the cameras have stopped rolling and the scripts have gathered dust. Tonight, we are not talking about a fleeting rumor. We are talking about the awakening of a myth. Get ready, dear friends, because what I am about to tell you has shaken the foundations of the entertainment world and set millions of hearts racing across the globe. Yes, you heard right in the introduction. We are turning our gaze toward the most legendary couple, the duo that defined a generation and made us believe in the impossible alchemy of true love through the cold glass of a screen. Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu. For what feels like an eternity, we have been waiting in the dark. We have been waiting for a sign, a small gesture, a whisper in the wind to tell us that the explosive, lightning-in-a-bottle chemistry we witnessed in the past hadn't completely faded into the ether. And finally, fate, or perhaps a multi-million-dollar contract spiced with a hint of undeniable romance, has conspired to bring them together in the glittering, luxurious, and secretive city of Dubai. But is this just work? Is it merely a transaction of fame? Or is there something more ancient, more profound at play here? Today, we are delving deep into the details of a trip that has left the industry speechless. We are analyzing the hot MIC moment, the dinner by candlelight, and the undeniable magnetic pull that refuses to die. Before we step into the desert heat, I have a crucial request for our loyal community. If you value journalism that reads between the lines and treats celebrity lives with the complexity of a novel, please make sure you are subscribed to News Around. And for those who wish to be the pillars of our channel, the true producers of these deep dives, I invite you to click the join button right next to the subscribe icon. Your membership allows us to tell these stories with the depth they deserve. Now, let us travel to the United Arab Emirates. It all began as a whisper in the digital wind, a rumor so perfect it felt fabricated by a fan's fever dream. Social media channels began to buzz with the improbable news. A major international brand was allegedly maneuvering to reunite Turkey's two biggest stars for a colossal advertising campaign in the United Arab Emirates. At first, the skepticism was palpable. No one dared to believe it. It seemed too good to be true, a mirage shimmering in the heat of our collective nostalgia. We have been burned before by false hope. However, the images that began leaking yesterday confirmed the impossible. There they were. Barış and Elçin. Together again. Standing under the unforgiving, exposing light of the desert sun, looking not like strangers, but like two halves of a whole finding their way back to the center. The setting could not be more poetic. Dubai, a city of mirages and miracles, where skyscrapers pierce the clouds and luxury knows no bounds, serves as the perfect backdrop for a reunion of this magnitude. It is a place where reality is suspended, where the impossible becomes architectural fact. And in this suspended reality, Barış Arduç and Elçin Sangu have reportedly found a sanctuary to explore a dynamic that has haunted them and us for years. But what has truly set off alarm bells in newsrooms from Istanbul to Madrid isn't the polished, airbrushed perfection of the brand's professional photos. No, we are interested in the raw, unscripted reality of what happened when the cameras were supposedly off. Eyewitnesses on the set, speaking under the condition of strict anonymity, claim the atmosphere was not just professional, it was electric. It was heavy with the ozone scent of a storm about to break. It wasn't simply a meeting of two old colleagues catching up on the years, it was the reunion of two souls who have memorized the map of each other's psyche. According to sources close to the production team, the defining moment occurred during a break in filming. The sun was beginning its descent, painting the dunes in shades of amber and violet. Barış and Elçin moved away from the main group of technicians and makeup artists. They sought a moment of privacy, gazing out at the distant, shimmering skyline of skyscrapers. They thought they were alone in the vastness of the desert. They were wrong. It was there that an open microphone, perhaps left on by a negligent sound engineer or perhaps by the hand of destiny, captured a phrase from Barış that has gone viral in a matter of hours. He, with that deep, resonant voice that we all know, a voice capable of conveying 1,000 emotions in a single syllable. Turned to her and said, "Time passes, but what I feel when I'm by your side doesn't change, Elçin. Dubai reminds me how good we look together. Let those words sink in. What I feel when I'm by your side doesn't change." This statement, my dear followers, is not part of the script for a perfume or a car advertisement. It is real life seeping through the cracks of fiction. It is a confession of endurance. It implies that despite the years, the distance, and the separate lives they have built, the fundamental emotional reaction to her presence remains immutable. And her response? It was immediate and equally devastating. With a shy but meaningful smile, the kind of smile that holds a secret, Elçin replied, "We've always had our own language, Boris. Perhaps this trip is the opportunity we missed." Incredible. The phrase "the opportunity we missed" hangs in the air like a question mark. What opportunity? Are they referring to a past project they turned down? Or are they referring to a romantic path they didn't take, a road left unrevealed because of timing or circumstance? These words have unleashed a storm of speculation that no PR statement can contain. Are they talking about a new cinematic universe? Or are they talking about the universe of their hearts? The intensity of their reunion was not just auditory, it was visual, visceral. Reports from the set indicate that the chemistry was so palpable, so overwhelming, that the commercial's director found himself in a unique predicament. Usually, a director spends hours trying to coax chemistry out of actors, trying to manufacture a spark where none exists. In this case, the problem was the opposite. The director reportedly had to ask them to tone down the intensity in some takes. Why? Because the loving gaze they shared, a gaze of profound familiarity and adoration, was deemed too real for the ad's concept. Imagine the irony. Imagine having to act less in love because reality surpasses fiction. The commercial was meant to sell a lifestyle, a product, a fantasy. But Boris and Elçin were giving them a documentary of desire. Their eyes didn't just meet, they collided. The way they stood near each other, the unconscious synchronization of their movements, the magnetic pull that seemed to erase the space between them, it was all too potent, too distracting. It threatened to overshadow the product they were there to sell. I want to pause here and ask you, the romantic detectives of News Around, do you believe that missed opportunities can come back around? Do you think life gives us second chances with the people we were meant to be with? Or is this just the nostalgia of two old friends playing with fire? I want to read your theories in the comments below. If the events on set were the spark, the events of that evening were the fire. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the desert cooled, the heat between them seemingly did not. They were seen having dinner together that same evening at one of the most exclusive restaurants across from the majestic Burj Khalifa. This was not a cast dinner. There were no managers checking their phones. There were no assistants organizing schedules. There were no publicists managing the optics. It was just the two of them, seated at a private table, framed by the dancing fountains and the candlelight. A waiter at the restaurant, who witnessed this intimate tableau, leaked details that feel like pages torn from a romance novel. They reportedly spent hours talking. They weren't checking their phones, they were locked in conversation, reminiscing about old times, laughing with the ease of people who share 1,000 inside jokes. But most importantly, they were heard making plans for the future. It is said that at one poignant moment during dinner, Boris reached across the pristine white tablecloth. He took Elçin's hand, a gesture of intimacy that transcends friendship, and looked her in the eyes. The source claims he said, "This project is just an excuse to see if the magic is still there. And I think the answer is obvious." To which Elçin, visibly moved, her eyes reflecting the candlelight, nodded without looking away. The answer is obvious. Indeed it is. It is fascinating to see how, despite the years and the fact that each has gone their separate ways, the universe insists on bringing them back together. It is as if they are tethered by an invisible thread that stretches but never breaks. Fans, who never lost hope even in the darkest years of their separation, are convinced that this trip to Dubai isn't just a work commitment. They firmly believe it is a hidden message, a coded signal sent from the dunes. And if we analyze the situation objectively, stripping away the cynicism, it makes perfect sense. Why accept a project together now, after so long avoiding the inevitable comparisons? Why choose such a remote location? Why Dubai? It is romantic, yes, but it is also secluded. It is far away from the prying eyes of the Istanbul paparazzi who track their every move. Everything points to them wanting a space, a neutral ground away from the local press to explore this new stage of their relationship, whatever it may be. In Dubai, they are just two people in a sea of strangers. They can walk, they can talk, they can hold hands under the table without the immediate fear of a flashbulb. This trip feels less like a job and more like a test run. A test run for a life where they are together again. Even the photos they themselves have shared on social media, though subtle and professionally curated, are full of clues for those who know how to read them. They are communicating in a public code. In one post, Elçin appears gazing at the vast, fiery sunset, her silhouette framed by the endless sand. The caption: two simple words, new beginnings. Simultaneously, Boris posted a photo in the exact same location, the light hitting his face in the same golden hue. His caption: it's never too late. If we connect the dots, the message is not just clear, it is screaming. New beginnings. It's never too late. They are telling us a story. They are telling us that something is being reborn from the ashes of what was one of the most beautiful love stories on television. They are acknowledging the passage of time only to dismiss it as irrelevant in the face of their connection. Of course, we must be prudent. We cannot forget that they are both professional actors, masters of their craft. This could, in theory, be a perfect marketing strategy designed to generate hype for the brand. But, dear friends, the eyes don't lie. The body language experts we have consulted agree. The way Boris protects Elçin when they walk through crowds, shielding her with his body as if by instinct. The way she seeks his approval with her eyes before answering a question. That can't be rehearsed. That is not in the script. That is instinct. It is pure affection. And perhaps, it is love that never truly left, but merely went into hibernation, waiting for the right season to wake up. The official narrative from their agencies will undoubtedly say it's a successful collaboration for a luxury brand. They will talk about synergy and market reach. But we, the watchers, the fans, the people who know how to read between the lines, we see a different story. We see two people who missed each other desperately. We see two people who have found in this project the perfect excuse to reunite without raising suspicion until it was too late. This analysis takes hours of research and deduction. If you appreciate the effort we put into bringing you the truth behind the rumors, please consider clicking the join button. Your support keeps News Around independent and fearless. And don't forget to subscribe. The question on everyone's mind now is simple but terrifying. What will happen when the plane lands? What will happen when they return to the reality of Istanbul? Will the magic of Dubai evaporate in the humid air of the Bosphorus? Will they retreat into their separate lives, chalking this up to a beautiful memory? Or will they continue seeing each other in secret, stealing moments in the shadows? Or, dare we dream, will this trip to Dubai be the start of the public relationship we've all dreamed of since the moment we first saw them together? What is certain is that this "we're together again" message has come through loud and clear. It is not just an announcement, it is a declaration of intent. The tension, the whispered phrases caught on microphones, the private dinners by candlelight, everything indicates that the Boris and Elçin chapter is far from over. In fact, looking at the New Beginnings caption, it seems a new and exciting chapter has just begun. We will be keeping a close eye on any developments, watching the airport arrivals, and monitoring their social media feeds. Because if Dubai was the setting for their reunion, Istanbul could be the setting for their confirmation. And now I'd like to turn the microphone over to you, my dear audience. You always have the best theories, the sharpest eyes. Do you think this is purely professional and we're just imagining things because we want it so badly? Or do you think Boris and Elçin are using this trip to give love a second chance? What do you think of the things they said on set? Are they just sweet words to get into character, or are there real feelings behind them? And which other Turkish celebrity couples would you like us to investigate next on News Around? Let us know in the comments below. Please, do not forget to like this video if you felt the spark. Subscribe to News Around so you never miss a beat of this unfolding love story. And a massive thank you to our Join members, you make this channel possible. Until next time, keep believing in magic. Goodbye.